The Liberian Senate, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. 49th sitting, second session, 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, Tuesday, November 11, 2025. Agenda of order of business. 1, call to order. 2, devotion. 3, roll call. 4, reading and adoption of the agenda. 5, unfinished business. 6, report from standing committees. A report from the Joint Committee comprising Ways and Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development on financing agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the International Development Association for additional financing for the Southeastern Corridor Road Asset Management Project. B, report from the Joint Committee comprising the committees on autonomous commissions and agencies and judiciary, human rights claims and petition on the act to establish the Civil Service Commission. C, report from the Joint Committee comprising autonomous commission agencies and judiciary, human rights claims and petitions on the act to review Article 2 of the Interim Assembly Decree number 8 of 1985, which established the Bureau of State Enterprises and to establish the state-owned enterprises of Liberia. D, report from the Committee on Transport on the confirmation hearing of Honorable John Z. Bowie, Senior, Deputy Managing Director for Administration, Designate Liberia Airport Authority. E, briefing from the Committee on Agriculture, Forestry, and Fishery on the issue of elephant destroying and killing dwellers allegedly in the western part of the country. F, briefing from the Committee on Ways and Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development on financing agreement, additional financing for harmonizing and improving statistics in West Africa project between the Republic of Liberia and International Development Association. G, briefing from the committee comprising committees on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development. It's the same as A, G and A. G will be briefing from the Joint Committee comprising committees on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Education and Public Administration, and Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions on financing agreements, Excellence in Learning in Liberia project between the Republic of Liberia and International Development Association. Briefing from the Joint Committee comprising Transport, Public Works of Development, Lands and Mines, Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions, Concession and Investment, and Ways, Means, Finance and Budget on concession and access agreement executed between the Government of Liberia and Navajo Liberia Limited. I, briefing from the Joint Committee comprising Lands and Mines, Youth and Sports, and Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions on matter of national interest and concern related to the welfare and entitlement of former national football team players, the Lone Star. J, briefing from the Joint Committee comprising Defense, Security, Intelligence, and Veteran Affairs, Judiciary, Human Rights, Claims and Petitions, and Internal Affairs, Governance and Reconciliation regarding an alleged growing influx of Burkinabes in River J County. K, briefing from the Committee on Public Works and Rural Development, request for land grant compensation package for citizens affected by the demolition in Hotel Africa and Rototown communities. L, briefing from the Committee on Gender, Women, Children, and Social Protection on the African Union Convention on Any Violence Against Women and Girls. This is our President's Deck 7. Communication from the President of Liberia. B. Communication from Senator Edwin M. Snow of Wami County, requesting for investigation into the alleged reported agreements and establishment of a gambling center within the premises of the Liberia Broadcasting System, the LBS. C. Communication from Senator Janetta Porter of Rotary County submitting a bill for enactment, an act to establish the National County Sports Meet for Entertainment and Development for second reading. 8. Annual business. A. Issue on higher education, proffered by Senator Joseph K. Jala of Local County. B. Issue of the work permit to be validated, proffered by Senator Abraham Darius Dillon of Montreal County. 9. Adjournment. President Pro Tem and presiding officer, distinguished senators, the reading of the proposed agenda for today's sitting.
Distinguished colleagues, you've heard the reading of the draft agenda for today's sitting. What is the witness pleasure? Senator G. Smith.
Madam Pro Tem, distinguished senators, I move that if I can obtain a second, that the agenda just read be received and open for discussion.
It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be open for discussion. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against? Agenda is open for discussion. Any intervention, Senator Chair?
On this agenda items to the repetitions at our last sitting, we made all these briefings. I, J, L, 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't 4 briefings.
Yeah, I was done.
Yeah.
J.
The only time remaining are the reports we are preparing and we are working on. I, J, K, L.
But we still need to put the next timeline for those reports. Because if they're here for briefing, that means the time expires.
Yeah, so that's okay.
So that I, J, and
I, J, K, L.
so I, J, and K, L will give them on next week Tuesday to report. Secretary Senate, please take note of that. I, J, K, L already briefed. They will report next week Tuesday. Senator Potokana. Senator Potokana.
Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues,
Senator Jala.
I did a communication to and it was sent to the committees. Now that the hearing was tomorrow, I don't know the fate of the superintendent orders.
Which hearing?
In our county, the
So
Friday.
putting it on AOB?
Yeah.
Okay, so that on AOB. Any other intervention, Senator Sir Joseph?
Madam Pro Tem and colleagues, I want to handle the one agenda. So the agenda.
Their communication here was an oversight, so we'll put it there for AOB. The Secretary of Senate has it? Yeah. Separate. Special dispensation. And doable. And then, special dispensation for political leaders. For a 84 party, yeah, you get special dispensation. confirmation will be said that back here.
No, I'm really pleased to be my president distinguished for you. I would like for you to be kindly include other business.
We can hear you.
I would like for you to kindly include other business briefing from the Committee on Agriculture.
Briefing from the Committee on Agriculture on what issue?
Regarding the star fees and retrap investigation or hearing.
All right. Any other intervention? With no other intervention, motion to adopt the agenda. All in favor say yea. Against? Secretary of the Senate.
October 28, 2025. Senator Nyomdi Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, Capitol Building, Monrovia, Liberia. Madam President Pro Tempore, I am pleased to submit herewith the following nomination pending Senate confirmation for appointment in government, Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. Fafin B. Gonzo, Assistant Minister for State, Assistant Minister of State with all portfolio. I would greatly appreciate if this is given expedited confirmation by the Senate so as to ensure smooth transition in the government. I regard sincerely Joseph Human Parker, Senior President. Madam President.
A report? That was a report? The communication from the President. Distinguished colleagues, you've heard the reading of the communication from the President nominating to Assistant Minister position, Ministry of State and Presidential Affairs. What is your word and pleasure? Senator Bunning.
So move that we appoint the nomination be turned over to the Committee on Executive, and that this body reports to the plenary within 2 weeks.
Before restating the motion, are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against? And I won't win. I gotta keep on my rest. Secretary of the Senate, that's on the agenda.
Communication from Senator M. Sproul Jr. of Bomi County. November 10, 2025. Senator Nyomdi Kanga Lawrence, President Pro Tempore, the Liberian Senate in session, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Reference: request for investigation into the reported agreement and establishment of a gambling center within the premises of the Liberia Broadcasting System, LBS. Madam President Pro Tempore, I present my compliments and herewith write to bring to your esteemed attention credible reports indicating that the Liberia Broadcasting System, LBS, our only state-owned radio and television network, has reportedly entered into an agreement with Blue Star High Tech Liberia Limited, a gambling company operating in Liberia, thereby establishing a gambling center within the premises of the institution. This development Madam President Pro Tempore and distinguished colleagues, raises serious concerns regarding the moral standing, institutional integrity, and public image of the nation's premier broadcasting entity, which is financed by national government and serves as a vital platform for national communication, education, and entertainment. In view of the sensitivity of this matter and the need to safeguard the integrity of the Liberia broadcasting system, I respectfully request that plenary mandates the Senate Committee on Information, Broadcasting, and Cultural Affairs to conduct a full-scale investigation into the alleged agreement between LBS and said gambling companies. This matter, if left unchecked, could erode public trust in one of our nation's most important communication institutions. Whilst thanking you for your consideration, please accept the reassurances of my highest esteem. Regards, Senator Edwin Melvin Snow Jr., Senior Senator, Orme County. Madam Pro Tem, I'm presiding. A reading for communication from Senator Snow of Orme County.
Distinguished colleagues, we've heard the reading of a communication from Senator Snow requesting an investigation. Senator Taylor, Senator Snow, please leave on the way after session. You'll find $100 each. Request to investigate a reported agreement and establishment of a gambling center within the premises of the Liberia Broadcasting System. That is a communication from Senator Snow, who might not be interested in a motion. With that said, can we get a motion? Senator P.L. Sir Joseph.
Madam President, having listened to communication from the senior senator of Orme County, I move that in a second that the communication be received and sent to the Committee on Information, and the senator be given 3 minutes to speak to each. If I can obtain a second.
Whoever restain the motion, are you ready to vote? On readiness by Senator Momo Saros.
Thank you, President. I will be ready to vote if the Committee on Security is earlier, considering that this is an investigative issue.
Move on, reject, accept or reject. Accept or reject.
Well, my colleague will do
You reject? Any other readiness? With that clear, are you ready to vote? All in favor say yea. Against? Motion carries. Senator Snow, 2 minutes.
President, thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. President, the letter is self-explanatory. So I was on a flight and I met a team from Ghana that said they have a gambling center. And I was like, where is it? It says inside LBS, inside LBC. So I was confused. I really didn't believe it. And they said, I said, well, behind the fence, they said, no. The management of LBC gave them a room inside the compound, in the facility, one of the theaters, to open a gambling center. And I was really shocked. I don't know how true it is. I'm not rendering judgment, but this letter is asking that this is the Committee on Broadcasting and maybe Security, whatever committee on a motion, can just go there and I posted in the garden staff there. He sent me the pictures of the gambling center inside the LBC. I just posted in the chat room. So you can just go and see it to verify
And if it is true, pro tem, I think we can carry LBS to that level to open a gambling center inside ELBC. I think it's unacceptable. If it's true, then I think we must do something about it. If it's false, then I stand corrected. I shall submit.
So the committee can just go there tomorrow. With that clear, I read the vote. We already voted? Okay. So the committee on broadcasting and security. The motion said broadcasting. Okay. So the committee on broadcasting, please act accordingly and report here in time. Secretary of the Senate. All right.
Communication from Senator Jonathan Porter Sokwe submitting a bill for enactment. The bill was read last week, so today is up for second reading by title. An act to establish the National County Sports Meet for Entertainment and Development.
I was the title reading for an act to establish the National County League. And it's the second reading, so we'll get a motion. Motion. Senator Porter Sokwe. Yeah? That bill, nobody wants motion. Or Senator Jala.
Madam Pro Tem, having listened to the reading of a very clear and people-sensitive bill from Senator Porter Sokwe, I will move, as if I get second, that they having had a second reading introduced to the Committee on Judiciary, assisted by Youth and Sports, to reporting reasonable time, maybe 2 weeks.
It has been moved and seconded that this communication or the bill be sent to the Committee on Judiciary as the lead committee.
Yeah, and Youth and Sports.
And Youth and Sports. With that clear, are you ready to vote? On readiness, Senator Taylor? Moving. On readiness, Senator Snow?
Are all former players as resource personnel?
What's that?
Report from Senate committees. report for the joint committee comprising Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works.
It's a bill from Senator. So with this second read, send it to the committee. So we just voted there.
So with that, are you ready to vote? Those in favor say yea. Again.
Report from Senate committees. First report from the committees on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development on the financial agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the International Association for its additional financing for the Southeastern Corridor Road Asset Management Project. November 3, 2025. The President pro tempore and distinguished members of the Liberian Senate, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Honorable pro tempore and distinguished colleagues, report of the Joint Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development on, in quote, the ratification of the financing agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the International Development Association for its additional financing for the Southeastern Corridor Road Asset Management Project, (SECRAM), unquote. Background. Whereas the International Development Association has supported Liberia's post-war recovery through various financing agreements, and these efforts have supported growth across various sectors of the country and have propelled the country's economy. The association remains committed to the development of Liberia through various interventions from its resource envelopes, whereas the association agrees to extend to the Republic of Liberia a credit, which is named as concessional financing for the purposes of general conditions in an amount equivalent to $23 million, variously credit and financing to assist in financing project described in the agreement, whereas the objective of the project is to support Liberia's efforts to enhance road connectivity along selected sections of the Kanta to Zwedu road corridor and improve institutional capacity to manage the road sector. In view of the foregoing and considering the purpose of this financing agreement and its predetermined outcomes, the Joint Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, and Public Works and Rural Development recommend ratification of the agreement to give full force and effect to the provisions as contained therein. Done in committee room and submitted on this 4th day of October, AD 2025. Senate Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget. For the Committee on Ways and Means, Senator Prinsky Moyet Senior, Chairman, sign. Senator Abra Tupechi, Member, sign. Senator Sai is Joseph, sign. Senator Zoe Minor Panel, Member, sign. Senator Boto Kane, Member, sign. Senator Francis S. Lopez, Member, sign. Senator J. Blebo Brown, Member, sign. Senator J. Alex Tyler, Member, sign. Senator J. Maya Nugwe, Member, sign. Senator Nanti Twain Jr., sign. Senator Waddington G. Fonseca. Senator Al E. J. Jevon, sign. Senator Bill to comment? And regarding the reading of a report on the political party waste and public waste on agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the International Development Association, additional financing for the Southeastern Corridor Road Asset Management Project.
That was the report for the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Public Works on the additional financing for the Southeastern Corridor. What's your will and pleasure? Senator Bell Brown.
President of the Senate, distinguished colleagues, we have listened to the reading of the joint report from the Joint Committee with Finance, Public Works, recommended for ratification. First, the first financing agreement between the Republic of Liberia and IDA. I move that the report be received, recommendations from those, and that we vote for the ratification of this.
That the report be endorsed and that this plenary vote in favor of this ratification. Are you ready to vote?
All right.
Why are you ready?
Mr. President, Mr. Muden, I will be ready to vote if you will allow that we get a summary.
Before. So this is the first, this Seagram project, and we pray to this plenary to have it passed so that the corridor I just mentioned that will cost 23 million United States dollars can be accessed and for this road work to be done. So you're right, we should always make reference to previous financing agreement and know the performance thereof before engaging into the passage. So distinguished colleagues, having said that, we pray to the plenary so that we endorse this report and then have the agreement ratified. Thank you.
I want to believe. Without that, you ready to vote? Those in favor say yeah. Again?
Report from Senate committees. Report for the Committee comprising Autonomous Commission and agencies and judiciary human rights case and petition on the act to establish the Civil Service Commission.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, with the authority of the chairperson of the committee,
Senator Creighton O. Duncan, the CSA boss, and other relevant authorities and professionals are being invited to a public hearing on next Tuesday, and senators will be duly informed about that public hearing after session. That is the only briefing we have. Yeah.
The guy report. So it means the report is not ready and we should give you a chance. Madam President. No, the President got it from.
Mr. President, Senate distinguished colleague for B and C is overdue. We have the Thursday to have a report for these committees. If those reports are not in by Thursday, we will make a new announcement as to who's going to lead this joint committee. I just wanted to be informed. Secretary, please take note.
So BFC, please act by Thursday. So go to D.
Report from the Committee on Transport on a confirmation hearing of Honorable John Sir Boyd, Senior, Managing Director for Administration, Liberia Airport Authority. October 23, 2025, Senator Young Kanga Lawrence, President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Capitol Building, Capitol Hill. Dear pro tempore, report of the Senate Committee on Transport concerning the confirmation hearing of
Mr. President.
Okay. Honorable John Zeb Bowie Sinon, Deputy Managing Director for Administration Designated Liberia Airport Authority. Recommendation. In accordance with the procedures followed by the committee recommends the plenary that the nominee, Honorable John Zeb Bowie Senior, be confirmed. During committee room and submitted on this 23rd day of October 2025. Signed, Senator Sai is Joseph Chairman. Signed, Senator Yoti Twewe, Vice Chair. Signed, Senator Sima B. Taylor, Member.
Sorry, Mr. President. I suggest we defer that to Thursday because it's a confirmation report and it has to be registered on the agenda. It was not there. It was placed on the LG. It's on the agenda. No, the deputy is on there, the MD is not on the confirmation, so it's not going to be read here today. Because it has to be in the report. It could be on the agenda.
So we're clearing the deputy and,
Yeah, because it's on the agenda.
the hair will be next week.
Yeah.
Thursday, yeah. You done with the reading? I'm talking about you done with the reading? Why are we reading on the deputy?
Signed, Senator Sima B. Taylor. Signed, Senator Francis S. Doko. Signed, Senator Thomas Yaya Nime. Signed, Senator Jonathan B. Sokwe. Signed, Senator So Ikeno. And signed, Senator J. Beko Brown. Senator Amara Kwame did not sign the report. Mr. President of the Senate and presiding officer, the reading of a report from the Committee on Transport on a confirmation hearing of Honorable John Zebue, Senior Deputy Managing Director for Administration, Liberia Airport Authority.
Now the reading of the report from the Committee on Transport on the confirmation of John Zebue. What's the will and pleasure? Senator Snow.
President of the Senate, the Vice President of Liberia, distinguished colleagues, having listened to the committee report on the confirmation of Mr. John S. Bowie, I move, if I continue a second, that the report be accepted and that we call a vote on the record.
Move and second that the report be accepted and the vote be on the record. And already now.
Mr. President of the Senate, distinguished colleagues,
This is an institutional issue. The president nominated a managing director and subsequently a deputy managing director. And these two nominees were nominated the same day. When a look at Mr. Pizarri, I refuse. You could deny one and take one. So with that, we'll call the vote on the record.
Senator Nyomri Kamna Lawrence. President Pro Tempore, Liberia Senate.
I vote yes for Mr. John Bowie as the Deputy for Administration, RIA.
Mount Soraro County. Senator Sahadi Joseph.
Vote yes.
Senator Ibrahim. Grand Bassa County. Senator Bresonga and Finley. Sando County. Senator Councilor Gossi SG. Senator Crichton O. Duncan. Milton County. Senator J. Blabo Brown. Senator James P. Barney. Grand Cape County. Senator Simeon Boyman Taylor. Senator Daba M. Babla. Bon County. Senator Prince Kamon Moy. Senator General K. Nima County. Senator Nyandi Tuan Jr. Senator Samuel G. Koga.
Yes.
Grand Gila County. Senator Zoe Mayapeno. Senator Thomas Yaya Mine. Lufa County. Senator Councilor Joseph K. Jara. Senator Momoti Saros. Bowen County. Senator Ellen Melvin Snow Jr. Senator Ellis Jennifer Tyler. Margaret County. Senator Emmanuel Nokwe. Senator Nathaniel F. McGill. Riverside County. Senator Wellington Jivon Smith.
Yes.
Senator Bill Tiatuawi. Grand Creek County. Senator Professor Abbott Tupache.
Yes.
Senator Nimenuti H. Batekwa. River G County. Senator Jonathan Borja Subwe.
Yes.
Senator Francis S. Dopu II.
Yes.
Bapulu County. Senator Bodo Kapne.
Yes.
Senator Amara M. Conant.
Yes.
Signed, Senator Councilor Augustine S. Shea.
No, you got it. Here. But you can't come back. Now I see that you buy it for. Oh, what you getting back for?
As the President of the Senate and Vice President of Royal Liberia, 23 senators voted in favor of the nominee, 1 abstained. The total votes 24.
With 24 votes, the vote is carried. And Mr. Secretary, you will communicate to the Chief Executive. Briefing from the Committee on Agriculture Officials.
Briefing from the Committee on Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries on the issue of elephants destroying and killing dwellers allegedly in the western belt of the country.
The Secretary? Okay. Mr. Vice President and President of the Senate, Madam Pro Tem, distinguished senators, on November 4, exactly 1 week ago today, the plenary of the Senate entertained a complaint from senators from the western region of the country about the constant conflict between the villagers and elephants. In fact, reports came that about 3-4 persons have been killed. And so the plenary of the Senate mandated the committee on agriculture to engage national stakeholders to look at the situation. Based on this mandate, on Friday, November 7th, the committee invited national stakeholders at the Capitol building. Those present were the Minister of Agriculture, the Managing Director of the Forestry Development Authority, FDA, a representative from Wild Japanese, because we also invited NGOs in the animal protection business. And so Wild Japanese was here, and Conservation International were present. We had a discussion and several issues were identified. Issues that were identified included one, because of increasing development taking place in the country, the population of the country is growing rapidly, because don't forget, when Liberia signed to some of these conventions about 50, 60 years ago, some of those areas we consider close to forest land, they were densely forest areas. And so, some of the issues that were identified included proximity of villagers to the forest, mining and pit sawing activities taking place, hunting expedition, because one of the photos that were presented to the committee by the FDA during the meeting, one of those killed by the elephant. The gun was sighing, and the elephant broke the gun. It stepped on it until it broke it into pieces. So that is to tell you that there was an intent of attack, and there was reaction. And so they presented the photos. Also, short and long-term solutions were also discussed. The short-term solution want FDA to increase ringers in the conflict zone. And so the FDA agreed to increase the presence of ringers in the area. The FDA reported that it has made representation to families of the victims. And so these are the short term. For long term, according to FDA, some time ago when the constant report of human elephant conflict started, they invited the continental organization called Africa Pike that specializes in this business. Africa Pike came and they analyzed the situation, the terrain, and advised the FDA that as a country, Liberia must find a solution because elephant leg fruits, mainly banana. And so climate change from the observation, climate change and other human activities creating scarcity for the fruits in the forest. And so the elephants will always chase the villages to look for food. And so as a country, Liberia must look at this keenly. For the long-term solution also, according to FDA, before putting the FDA financial aspect under the Ministry of Finance, within the FDA setting, they used to have what they call template fees that the FDA used to collect to address some of these type of problems. But now every cent collected by FDA coming to consolidated account at the Ministry of Finance, and FDA has nothing of such a deed to address the problems. Lastly, the FDA, the Ministry of Agriculture, as agents of the executive, suggested that they want to go by, consult the president on possible solutions, and they will come back to the committee in 2 weeks. And this is why this report was not written and signed. This briefing was not written and signed because it has not been finalized. So the FDA and the Ministry of Agriculture promised to go consult the chief executive on some of the long-term solutions that discussed, and they will get back to the committee. So, Mr. President of the Senate, this is a briefing from the Agriculture Committee on the human-animal conflict in Western Liberia.
Senator, I know you raised the issue the last time.
Yeah, I was in the meeting. I don't know if it was a good one, but okay. But there are a few concerns I have because when you saw the issue and during the short time intervention, we said, Honorable Chair, that they should have carried food for the people because a lot of people are afraid of people in the butchers now to eat fresh water. So up to present, the information I got, nothing has gone there, and yeah, nothing has happened. Food. You know, the people normally live on the forest. They go into the forest, they harvest their food, they go there for fishing and the rest of it. Presently, they cannot even go. Students are not even going to the school because the school is right at the edge of the forest, and so they have to leave the school because the elephant will come and enter the town. So what we discussed the last time was that they should have met the chief executive to provide feeding for them, and then send the rangers to be around the town so that they can help to guide the people whenever the elephant enter the town. So we would like to see as to the chairman asking the executive to ensure that happens, so that they can give our people some chance to survive. Thank you.
The issue of the elephants has long lingered on this program. We started with Babulu. Our sister has tried this plenary for help, for government's intervention. I remember moved that the briefings of this committee be transformed to a full-fledged report, and that this plenary mandate the committee to submit a report next Tuesday with all appropriate recommendations that will help to mitigate the issues of the elephants in Western Liberia, and that the report will be debated next Tuesday. That is my motion, that it should be mandated to transform the briefings into a full-fledged report with appropriate recommendations for the consideration of this plenary.
It's been moved and seconded that the committee transform the briefing into a full-fledged report for when Thursday? Next Tuesday. Are you ready to vote?
I'm ready.
Oh, Chairman, you ready? Chairman, where are you ready now?
One. I don't know whether motion was necessary on briefing.
Yes, it was necessary because we need to conclude this matter.
Two, I just said in the briefing that the Ministry of Agriculture, FDA, told the committee that long-term solutions have to be taken and we must give them 2 weeks to consult the president, because as ministry and agency, they cannot just make certain commitments.
Why the other thing about? Say your readiness.
My unreadiness is I cannot vote when the people who report we're supposed to be writing and signing to plenary, the people said that we should give them 2 weeks.
So you want 3 weeks to write a report?
Yes, sir.
Stop telling your readiness.
So for the distinguished senator from Maryland, please extend. I will be ready to vote if you can extend the time to 3 weeks, because we don't control the report that will be coming. The people who are supposed to bring it, they are asking for 2 weeks.
Information.
Friday.
Information. He said he want you to extend it because no, there's a motion on the floor. Stay already. There's a motion on the floor. No, that's deal with that already. That's right.
Regarding the actions of this plenary, and I wait in advance for the executive to take action. So I want to honorably reject my chairman, as a member of this committee, that we need to bring this matter to a closure. So I stick with 1 week. Let the committee make up before next Tuesday, so that the people of Western Liberia can have great relief.
After Saturday, Taylor and the chief.
Representing and colleague, my colleague Senator Brown, I will be ready to vote, considering that our colleague from Brandishman County stated that there are needs for food. Citizens are going through some crisis related to food and other water and other things. I'll be ready to vote if this plenary to mandate the National Disaster Committee to come in to help our citizens.
It should be part of the recommendations from the committee.
But then, Senator Brown,
Senator Brown,
Senator Brown, I can say 1 week to wait for the committee, said you should wait for a committee report. I can do that, Senator Brown. And prove so that the committee tell the National Disaster to vote something. That's all. What does that have to do with the committee?
Maybe the political leader will provide for rapture in
Yourself.
You still yourself? Senator Taylor, Senator Cheer, Senator Snow. I will be ready to vote. Honorable movement. I will be ready to vote if the chair can make his report on Tuesday.
when?
Tuesday, yes, sir. Because we. Now, when you say it's Tuesday, I will be ready to vote if the movement will accept that the chair make his report on Tuesday and that. No, he can reject it. I just make it reject Tuesday, yeah. There should be food taken to the people before Tuesday. Senator Chief.
I think it's the committee that will do the work. Given the great nature of this matter, I don't think it's something that we could
Simple is on humanitarian grant. I'll be ready to vote if almost Joseph can send a container of medical supplies to address the urgent medical needs of the people while we're waiting to report.
Thank you, Excellency. The issue of the elephant, I will be ready to vote if the movement will allow for 3 weeks. The issue of the elephant has been lingering for almost a year in this shipment. And it has gone to the extent where it's killing people. We have not had the energy to take it to the executive branch of government. Today, the chair on agriculture has said that the committee, those who are responsible, have said that they want additional 2 weeks to take it to the president, so that the president will make decision to provide the necessary tools for this thing to be placed under control. We don't have control to say, yeah, we want 2 weeks. We cannot go 2 weeks. Let's take it to 3 weeks. The elephant will still be around. 3 weeks is sufficient. Thank you.
So why be yourself or you reject? Any other relatives? Any other relatives? When a relative satisfied, do you feel say yeah? Again? Mr. Chairman, you have 2 weeks to make a report. Thank you. Communication with the President of Liberia.
Republic of Liberia, the President. Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence, President pro tempore of the Liberian Senate, Capitol Hill, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Madam pro tempore and members of the Liberian Senate, I have the honor to submit to the 55th Legislature the proposed national budget for January 1, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. The same constituting fiscal year 2026 in line with Section 17.1 of the Amendment and Restatement of the Public Financial Management Act of 2009. Revenue forecast. The revenue draft fiscal year 2026 budget is predominantly reliant on proceeds from domestic resource mobilization efforts. The estimated revenue of US $1.211 billion comprises domestic revenue of $1.130 billion, or 94%, an external resource envelope of US $72 million, or 6%. Domestic revenue will be raised from the following sources: tax revenue, US $727 million. Non-tax revenue, US $584 million, including US $200 million for the ratification of the amendment of the ArcelorMittal concession agreement, and contingent revenue of US $28 million. Domestic revenue estimates exceed the fiscal year 2025 budget of 47%, or US $333 million. The World Bank, European Union, and African Development Bank are the three sources of external resource projections for fiscal year 2026, with US $40 million or 56%, US $20 million or 28%, and US $12 million or 16% respectively. We are committed to ensuring that in the medium term, the proportion of budget resources from domestic revenue will continue to increase as we adapt our economic and fiscal policies to the shift in international relations from aid to trade. Expenditure estimates. Allocations for the recurrent cost of ongoing public policy priorities are estimated at US $940 million, or 77% of projected expenditure. This is a 21% increase from fiscal year 2025. We have aligned these allocations to the arrest agenda for inclusive development AARD. This is aimed at supporting the effective functioning of government institutions, thereby enhancing their productivity and facilitating the efficient delivery of essential public services and reducing our debt portfolio. Our US $281 million, or 23% of the proposed budget, has been set aside to fund the Public Sector Investment Plan (PSRP). This is 164% more than the appropriation for fiscal year 2025, underscoring our commitment to allocate more and more resources to critical interventions in the AARD. Macroeconomic context and outlook. The Liberian economy remains on an upward trajectory in the medium term, with a moderate projection of 5% during the fiscal year 2026, up from 4% in fiscal year 2025. This positive trend is underpinned by growth in three main sectors, namely mining and planning, which is projected to grow by 11%, manufacturing 6%, and agriculture and fisheries 5%. It is important to note that these sectors have also been among our targets for both policy interventions and an increase in resource outlay. New regulations and increased enforcement of mining laws and regulations, targeted surcharges to protect local manufacturing, and increase public and private investment in agriculture are some contributory factors. Other notable drivers of growth in these sectors are upgrades to key economic infrastructures, mainly roads and energy, among others. In fiscal year 2026 and beyond, we continue to implement these and similar policies that stimulate domestic production and set the economy on the path of long-term progress. The rate of inflation in fiscal year 2026, with all exacerbating factors constant, is anticipated to remain in the single-digit range, averaging around 5% over the medium term. The moderation in price levels will be largely influenced by policies that ensure exchange rate stability, improve domestic food supply arising from recovery in the agricultural sector, and tight but supportive monetary policies to be pursued by the Central Bank of Liberia. Spending priorities. Dear Madam Pro Tempore and members of the Liberian Senate, the proposed budget for fiscal year 2026 is a reminder that our administration remains committed to transitioning Liberia to a lower middle income country and improving the welfare and quality of life of our citizens. In this draft budget, we have taken deliberate decisions to invest in programs that tackle the everyday realities of Liberians by allocating resources to programs that deliver tangible results and impacts. For For instance, as indicated in the expenditure summary, we propose increasing the PSRP proportion of the budget from US 107 million in fiscal year 2025 to US 281 million. It's 164% year-on-year growth. This is an emphatic declaration of our intent to accelerate the implementation of the AARD in the 15 county development agendas and CDAs. Of this amount, the entire US $200 million from the ratification of the Asila Metal Mineral Development Agreement will be directed to interventions in energy and transport infrastructure, education, health, and the concession counties. Honorable Pro Tempore and members, the allocations for key priorities of the AARD are articulated in the following manner. Human capital development. We are proposing US $250 million in this budget as investments in education, health, and youth empowerment. This includes US $4 million for the National Youth Empowerment Program, about US $2 million for the school feeding and school health initiatives, and US $6 million to improve infrastructure at the University of Liberia. Additional funding is also proposed for the Drug Revolving Fund, rehabilitation of hospitals, and a multi-sectoral and anti-drug project, which we believe is the best approach to dealing with the drug issue. We have also made available resources for targeted programs promoting gender equality and women's economic empowerment, especially tackling sexual and gender-based violence, infrastructure, and energy. Against the background of conflict-induced devastation and neglect, this pillar remains the bedrock for Liberia's economic transformation in a foreseeable future. We have therefore earmarked US $188 million for this pillar. This includes, among other allocations, US $50 million towards the modernization of St. Paul Bridge to the Bow Waterside Road corridor to boost economic activities in the western region and trade in the Monorail Basin. US $59 million for other road projects managed or supervised by the Ministry of Public Works. US $50 million for LEC smart metering projects aimed at extending of access to electricity to maximize available capacity, eliminate operating losses, and US $4 million for renewable energy in rural Liberia, anti-corruption and rule of law. The draft budget has US $159 million, including costs to run key entities, as well as to implement projects to strengthen the justice and judicial system. Among the key priorities are modernization of police and immigration services, infrastructure for the judiciary and correctional service, and expanded drug enforcement. Environmental sustainability. We have allocated US $79.49 million in the fiscal year 2026 draft budget for renewable energy, forest conservation, and urban sanitation, and safeguarding our natural capital while attracting concessional financing. These investments are fiscally prudent and economically strategic. It also includes funds to settle the outstanding arrears for electricity imported from neighboring countries for the River G hydropower project. Reduce our long-term reliance on fossil fuel-generated electricity and its damaging impact on the environment. Economic transformation pillars. We have set aside US $82.19 million to stimulate economic growth and create jobs. This includes additional investment in agriculture value chain strategy of the National Agricultural Development Plan, the NADP, and the formalization of the artisanal mining subsector, among other private sector growth enhancement initiatives, and to emphasize our broader policy context of the economy. We allocated more than $1 million to support strategic and marketing this sector and promote Liberia as an attractive destination. While this may seem modest in the larger scheme of the budget, it is the first time in a long time for this targeted commitment of resources for tourism, local administration, and service delivery. The draft budget proposes $76 million to strengthen local governance, enhance transparency, and promote effective public service delivery. This allocation supports ongoing efforts to deepen decentralization, empower local communities, with $15.4 million for district development projects, $3 million for the county development fund, $2 million for projects from the 15 county development agendas. In addition, $1.5 million for the national cadastre, which could lead to a more transparent and accountable administration system. Honorable Pro Tem and members of the Senate, in the coming fiscal year, we plan to improve efficiency in critical service delivery sectors, such as health, infrastructure, and the justice system. This will include the hiring of additional doctors and other health workers for the new Redemption Hospital, subsidizing the salary of ELWA Hospital to ensure continuity of its critical contribution to the health sector, and the enrollment of some volunteer health workers on the payroll. We have also provided for the enrollment of more than 200 new engineers and salary top-ups for other engineers who are already on the payroll. Other similar interventions will impact the LDEA and other institutions. As we mobilize more domestic and external resources to develop Liberia, we remain mindful of the reality that there will always be unscrupulous attempts to divert public resources towards unintended private ends. Hence, we want to strengthen our frontline institutions in the anti-corruption fight. We have fully returned the LACC to its pre-harmonized status and have also set aside funds to assist the GSC addressing salary and hiring-related challenges. Others include the Judiciary, LDEA, revenue-generating entities, and some traditional chiefs to enhance our ongoing efforts in the implementation of the national policy on decentralization and local governance. Official development assistance. Our development partners have committed an estimated $313 million in official development assistance (ODA) for fiscal year 2026. Of this amount, $161 million will come through grants, and $80.1 million will come through concessional financing. On budget, ODA amounts to $72 million, and $241 million will support government priorities through programs and projects under the following AARD pillars: economic transformation, environmental sustainability, human capital development, infrastructure, governance, and anti-corruption and rule of law. Debt management. Honorable Pro Tem and distinguished members, balancing the government's credibility and budgeting for debt service remains a major challenge due to tight fiscal space. Even though we remain committed to reducing the debt burden and ensuring that our annual debt profile remains within our medium-term debt sustainability (MTDS) framework. One of the key policy priorities of this government is to sustainably manage our debt as annual debt service obligations of the government continue to significantly increase. Despite the significant increase of 50% or US $77 million in debt service appropriation from fiscal year 2025, the projected US $230 million for debt service in this draft national budget still falls far short of the actual debt service burden for next year. Accordingly, ensuring that all new financing proposals have the potential to yield significant economic and social returns, and restructuring of existing debt will continue to be emphasized in 2026 and the years beyond. The largest share of debt service payments goes to the CBL for the settlement of loans, such as the restructured and legacy loan and loans contracted in 2023 by the past administration to purposely to pay salaries of government employees. These payments to the CBL are tied to triggers under our extended credit facility (ECF) program with the IMF. Payments to commercial banks will enhance the capital market. In light of these challenges, there is an urgent need to increase the post-outlay to align with the true debt burden, thereby safeguarding the nation's creditworthiness, ensuring continued support for national development priorities. New policies. Honorable Pro Tem and distinguished members, as part of the strategy to realize the revenue projections for the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget and to ensure resources for our medium-term priorities, the fiscal management team has identified some reform measures, some of which will require subsequent legislation. These proposals include, among others, the following. 1. Reforming the corporate income tax regime for concessions in key sectors. 2. Harmonizing the residency threshold for non-resident service of the UN Model Convention. 3. Restricting or capping tax losses carried forward to minimize revenue deferrals and tax-based erosion. Honorable President Pro Tempore and members of the Senate, the Legislature set a landmark precedent with the timely passage of the 2025 budget before the start of the fiscal year, thereby breaking a historical pattern of distortions in expenditure and procurement planning. We plead with the honorable members of the Legislature to do likewise by ensuring that the review and approval of the draft budget review and approval are done on time, without compromising the required standards for transparent scrutiny and legislative due diligence. Conclusion. Honorable Pro Tem and members of the Senate, the proposed national budget for fiscal year 2026 is part of our continued commitment to sustaining macroeconomic stability, strengthening domestic revenue mobilization, and delivering tangible results for the Liberian people. It seeks to build resilience, expand productive capacity, and consolidate the foundations for sustainable national development as we begin the second year of the implementation of the AARD. Sincerely yours, Joseph Dima Boakat Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia.
That was a reading of the communication from the President of Liberia translating the national budget to the Liberian Senate. Roger, wait and pleasure. Nima Kambi.
Mr. President of the Senate, Vice President, Republic of Liberia, distinguished senators. Having listened to the reading of a comprehensive letter, self-explanatory accompanying the national budget submitted by His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai, President of the Republic of Liberia, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this budget be received by the Honorable Liberian Senate, pass on to the Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance and Budget to do a spot on assessment and analysis to see if the budget meets all requirements for submissions and the accompanying documents thereof. And advise the leadership appropriately.
No, I come here. I want you to restate that motion. I didn't hear you.
The motion as restated, without giving the preamble that the Liberian Senate received the budget submitted by His Excellency, pass on to the Ways, Means, Finance and Budget Committee, which will advise the leadership appropriately whether the budget has met all other submission requirements and accompanying documents thereof, in line with the Public Financial Management Law of Liberia.
Yeah, but all right.
I didn't hear the senator. I didn't restate the motion. Okay. One more. Sir, I didn't hear you. Restate it one more.
Mr. President of the Senate, distinguished senators, permit me to make my voice a little bit louder since I was not audible enough. Now, having received and read the communication accompanying the national budget submitted by His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai, that the Liberian Senate received the national budget, pass it on to the Committee Ways, Means, Finance and Budget for appropriate actions.
If we move and second that the budget be received by the plenary of this Senate and turn over to the Committee on Ways, Means, Finance and Budget for appropriate action. Are you ready to vote? Senator Dillon, what's your readiness? Senator Dillon, Senator Bryan, our order.
Mr. Musa, I will be ready to vote if your motion will carry and will vote on it, that the Senate will have its full hearing over the budget.
Yeah.
And not joint hearing with the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
I will want it in the motion, so we can vote on it.
Yeah.
So the Senate will hold public hearing with sector and sector, open the budget publicly. I will be ready to vote if your motion will carry that amendment.
Thank you. So I support that.
Anyway, whether I agree or not, leadership will decide. So I accept.
Okay. Good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Senator Bryan, Senator Tupu, Senator Chala.
Regarding my movement, copies of the President's nomination to the Senate be made for all senators. With the plenary decision as
be available as well.
I'm ready.
Senator Dogo.
Mr. President of the Senate, are we ready to vote for the movement? Bear in mind that the budget is the fiscal strength of the country is rooted in law. Consistent with the behavior law, section 18, that we just said that. Section 18 consistent with that, and the budget should be accompanied by the budget framework paper and the TTN revenue. Are we ready to vote? If you accept that the committee notify this body upon receipt of the full document that accompany this budget before proceeding to any hearing.
That consists of the appropriate action, so I accept.
Senator
I'll be ready to vote. The movement can provide a time frame. It's vague and indistinct at the time. Whatever I will tell you this, because we have to have it before the fiscal year begins. So we'll continue next year.
I reject. You hereby rejected.
Okay, you're doing it. Now you know the party you are doing it.
But I say you be man. Any other readiness? With all the readiness satisfied, doing favor say yea. Again. Senator Dillon.
Public Works and Road Development on financing agreement, additional financing for harmonizing and improving statistics in West Africa project. The Free Republic of Liberia and Christian National Development Association.
Okay, it's on a process. On Thursday, we put that to because of the test.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Which one?
It should be G for them.
You were taking care of
You were taking care of already.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So the next page, H. Well, that should be G.
But H is not. Is it? Jamaica? No.
Education. Yeah. And F. Ivanho.
Which one?
No.
Yeah. I know, I understand. Yeah.
So what? It will be?
No,
AOB?
no.
What?
Report from standing committees. M, briefing from the Committee on Gender, Children and Social Protection on the African Union Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls.
Are you ready?
Not being ready, it has not been brought to the table.
Okay. Thank you. AOB. AOB. Amajara.
Before our last closing, proper alert to this honorable body regarding the abrupt announcement to close down 31 higher institutions in our country, all over the country. And we reported to the plenary that this body should cite, we gave a summary of the request that this body should want to cite the Commission on Higher Education to appear before the appropriate committee or the full plenary to provide comprehensive report on the recent closures announcement. 2, present a list of all institutions affected of the 31 schools. 3, disclose the criteria used for assessment and decision making. 4, submit a clear plan for the future of affected students and employees and indicate what remedies, if any, are being explored by the Ministry of Education or related agencies. The reason for this is that some people are already going to school. They are on the verge of graduation and schools are closed abruptly. All these things need to be addressed. And if there's any other problem, you need to come and explain to the Senate. If they require any other assistance from the Senate, they will tell us. But rather than get closer to the one school one day, we haven't had that report clearly written and submitted to this body. So it's just a reminder to follow up on it. I submit. I just read the list.
Yeah, so what? So
My prayer is that this paper report,
the Education Committee?
the Commission on Higher Education, should come to the committee, or if the committee has met there, they should report on the deficiencies for which they are now.
Okay, so you have the floor to make a motion so we can make a determination on it. A motion. In a code of prayer, yeah, a motion.
I move, if I can get something there, that the instruction I was given from the reading of the request to close last should be reviewed and a report from the Education Committee to the effect be brought to this body for action.
Okay. What time frame?
Within 2 weeks.
It's moved and seconded that the issue on higher education I was raised before we went on break be brought to this body for action. Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to vote? Yes. Those in favor say yea. Yes. Against? The yeas have it. The motion is carried. Next.
Oh, that's it?
I'm making a case for the PSC committee to take charge because 3 weeks ago, someone communicated with the plenary to have
the GSC commission an audit of the entire work permit regime at the Ministry of Labor. That matter was referred to PSC within 2 weeks to report to this body. It's more than 3 weeks. So I'm asking the PSC to report to plenary for plenary's final action on the work permit audit.
Honorable Conan? Yes, you have the floor. Would you like to intervene?
Mr. Chair, yes, thank you. Please permit me to say.
Sure. Momentarily.
Okay. So, yes, we really applaud Senator Dillon's push on this work permit issue because it's an important matter for our country in light of the unemployment crisis. So, upon his plenary instruction, we have communicated with the General Auditing Commission, and it turned out that the GAC is currently auditing the Ministry of Labor already. So we have communicated the language in Senator Dillon's letter to the GAC to prioritize a compliance audit on the issuance of work permits to aliens in Liberia, covering the areas in his letter. I have a copy of the letter, and I'll be sharing with the PAC committee later today. And we ask that we wait for the outcome of the audit, and then we'll brief plenary appropriately. Thank you.
Is it noted? Reasonable. Okay. Motion for adjournment?
So say he wants to use crutches.
Hold on.
Don't tell me why back.
Is that an issue? Hello? I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't see that yet.
Presiding colleagues, the last time I wrote the Liberian Senate concerning about what is going on in our county, I got an information that the judge presiding, the judge in the county told the superintendent to recuse himself from this from office. But according to my understanding, the administrator is working, signing on behalf of the superintendent.
Please approach the chair. Please.
Yeah, los citizens are there. I know.
Who? Like I'm looking for hearing. He doesn't want. I don't think he wants to do it. Okay, relative to distinguished colleagues, relative to the very important issue raised by our colleagues, the chair, the presiding, excuse me, will take seize of the matter and immediately contact the relevant authority. Henceforth, we're not going to discuss it. Next, Honorable McGill, do you still have the issue on AOB or we need to proceed? You got a hearing here right after this, right?
Yeah, we got hearing.
So you suspend your issue? Is it? Oh no, you adjusted the agenda. Am I right? No, you raised an issue, right? On redraft something about the agriculture. But you got the floor. You want to make the issue now? Okay. Motion by adjournment?